The world is a place of breathtaking beauty and wonder. Sunsets paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, creating a mesmerizing view. Gentle waves lap at the shore, their rhythm a soothing and calming melody. Fields of wildflowers burst with color, a vibrant tapestry of life and beauty. Yet this same world is also a place of profound suffering and hardship. Natural disasters leave devastation and destruction in their wake. Disease steals health and claims lives too soon, leaving families in grief. War tears families apart, leaving scars both visible and unseen deep within. How can these two stark realities coexist in the same world? How can a world brimming with such beauty also be a place of such pain and suffering? This question, the problem of suffering, has haunted humanity for centuries and generations. It challenges our understanding of the world and our place in it, making us ponder deeply. For those who believe in a loving God, the question of suffering is particularly acute and troubling. If God is all-powerful and all-good, why does suffering exist in the world? Why doesn't He intervene and prevent pain and suffering from happening? The existence of suffering presents a profound dilemma, especially for those who believe in a benevolent and omnipotent God. This question has been a cornerstone of theological and philosophical debate for centuries, challenging the minds and hearts of believers and skeptics alike. It is a question that touches the very core of human existence and our understanding of the divine. If God is all-loving, wouldn't He want to prevent suffering? This is a question that many have asked in moments of personal pain and global tragedy. The idea of a loving deity who allows suffering can seem contradictory, leading to a crisis of faith for some. If He is all-powerful, wouldn't He be able to stop it? The omnipotence of God suggests that He has the power to eliminate all forms of suffering, yet we see suffering all around us. This apparent paradox has led to various interpretations and explanations throughout history. This seeming contradiction lies at the heart of the problem of evil, a theological and philosophical puzzle that has occupied thinkers for centuries. From ancient philosophers like Epicurus to modern theologians, the problem of evil has been a central topic of discussion. Each thinker has brought their own perspective, attempting to reconcile the existence of suffering with the belief in a benevolent and omnipotent God. How can we reconcile the existence of a loving God with the reality of pain and suffering in the world? This question is not just academic, it is deeply personal. For many, the presence of suffering in their own lives or in the lives of loved ones can be a significant barrier to faith. This essay will explore this complex question from a Christian perspective. We will examine the teachings of the Bible, the writings of influential Christian thinkers, and the experiences of believers throughout history. By doing so, we hope to provide a deeper understanding of this challenging issue. We will delve into the nature of God, the role of free will, and the meaning of suffering. The nature of God is a fundamental aspect of this discussion. Understanding God's attributes, such as His love, justice, and omnipotence, is crucial in addressing the problem of suffering. Additionally, the concept of free will plays a significant role in this debate. Many argue that human free will is a necessary component of a meaningful existence, even if it leads to suffering. Our aim is not to provide easy answers, but to offer a framework for understanding this challenging aspect of the human experience. Suffering is a complex and multifaceted issue, and simplistic answers often fall short. Instead, we seek to offer a nuanced perspective that acknowledges the depth of the problem while providing hope and insight. Whether you are a devout believer or a skeptical inquirer, we invite you to join us on this journey of exploration. This is a journey that requires an open mind and a willingness to engage with difficult questions. It is a journey that can lead to a deeper understanding of faith, suffering, and the human condition. Together, let us grapple with the age-old question, why does suffering exist in a world created by a loving God? This is not just a theoretical question, it is a question that impacts our daily lives and our understanding of the world. By exploring this question together, we hope to find meaning and purpose in the midst of suffering and to strengthen our faith and our sense of community. Before we can begin to address the question of suffering, we must first establish a common understanding of the Christian concept of God. This foundational understanding is essential because it shapes how we perceive and interpret the nature of suffering and the divine response to it. Christianity affirms a God who is triune, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This triune nature means that God is a community of persons, eternally existing in a relationship of love and unity. Each person of the Trinity plays a distinct role, yet they are one in essence. This God is not a distant deity, uninvolved in the affairs of humanity. Instead, he is deeply engaged with his creation. The Bible portrays God as a loving father who cares for his children, a son who sacrifices himself for humanity, and a spirit who comforts and guides believers. Rather, he is a personal God who loves us deeply and desires relationship with us. This personal nature of God is evident in the way he interacts with individuals throughout the Scriptures, offering guidance, comfort, and love. Furthermore, the Christian faith holds that God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-good. These attributes are often referred to as omniscience, omnipotence, and omnibenevolence. God's omniscience means he knows everything, including our thoughts, desires, and future events. He is not limited by time or space, and his understanding is infinite. This infinite understanding allows God to see the bigger picture beyond our limited human perspective. His omnipotence means he has the power to do anything that is consistent with his nature. He has the power to do anything that is consistent with his nature, and his actions are always motivated by love. This love is not just a feeling, but an active force that seeks the best for his creation. God's omnibenevolence assures us that his intentions are always good, even when we cannot understand his ways. Understanding these attributes of God is crucial to our exploration of suffering. It provides a framework for grappling with the difficult questions that arise when we encounter pain and hardship. Knowing that God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-good helps us trust that there is a purpose behind our suffering, even if it is not immediately apparent. It is within the context of his love, power, and wisdom that we must grapple with the reality of pain and hardship in the world. This context allows us to see suffering not as a random or meaningless event, but as something that can be used for a greater good. While the existence of suffering may seem to contradict these attributes, the Christian faith offers a framework for understanding how they can coexist. This framework includes the belief that suffering can lead to personal growth, deeper faith, and a closer relationship with God. It also includes the hope of ultimate redemption and restoration, where all suffering will be eradicated and God's perfect love will reign supreme. One of the key concepts in understanding the Christian perspective on suffering is the idea of free will. This notion is deeply embedded in the fabric of Christian theology and philosophy, serving as a cornerstone for many of its teachings and beliefs. According to Christian theology, God created humans with the capacity to make their own choices, to love him or reject him, to obey his commands or rebel against them. This ability to choose is not just a simple option, but a profound gift that defines the human experience. It is through this freedom that we can engage in meaningful relationships, not only with each other, but also with the divine. This gift of free will is an expression of God's love, for it allows us to experience true relationship with him, a relationship built on choice, not coercion. Imagine a world where love is mandated, where actions are pre-programmed, and where decisions are made for us. Such a world would lack the depth and authenticity that comes from genuine choice. It is in the freedom to choose that we find the essence of love and faith. However, this freedom comes at a cost. The very nature of free will means that we are also free to make wrong choices, to stray from the path of righteousness, and to act in ways that are contrary to God's will. This dual-edged sword of freedom is what makes the human experience so complex and at times so painful. The ability to choose good also implies the ability to choose evil. This dichotomy is at the heart of many moral and ethical dilemmas that we face in our daily lives. It is the reason why we struggle with decisions, why we wrestle with our conscience, and why we often find ourselves at moral crossroads. When humans misuse their free will, when they choose selfishness over love, hatred over compassion, violence over peace, the result is suffering. This misuse of freedom is evident in the myriad ways that human actions have led to pain and suffering throughout history, from wars and conflicts to personal betrayals and injustices. The consequences of our choices are far-reaching and often devastating. The pain and anguish we see in the world are often the consequences of human actions, the ripple effects of choices made in opposition to God's will. These choices not only affect the individuals who make them, but also have a profound impact on those around them, creating a web of suffering that can span generations. This concept is vividly illustrated in the biblical account of Adam and Eve. Their story is not just a tale of disobedience, but a profound lesson on the consequences of free will. It serves as a reminder of the weight of our choices and the far-reaching impact they can have. In the Garden of Eden, they were given the freedom to enjoy all that God had created, with one exception: the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This single prohibition was a test of their free will, a choice that would define their relationship with God and their place in the world. When they disobeyed God's command and ate from the forbidden tree, they introduced sin and suffering into the world. Their act of disobedience was not just a simple mistake, but a pivotal moment that altered the course of human history. It was a choice that brought about a fundamental change in the human condition, introducing pain, suffering, and mortality into the world. Their choice, driven by pride and disobedience, had far-reaching consequences, not only for themselves, but for all humanity. It serves as a powerful illustration of the burden of free will, a reminder that our choices have consequences that extend beyond our immediate circumstances. The story of Adam and Eve is a cautionary tale, urging us to consider the weight of our decisions and the impact they can have on our lives and the world around us.